pjnet.tv. It is 9:30 on the East Coast of the United States. It is Thursday night. That is the time set aside for JD. We're just running through the checklist here. According to this, we are streaming on all platforms. According to this, we are recording. According to this, we have the cameras aimed. We've got JD standing by. The chat room's waiting. So let's switch to Studio 6 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, welcome back to pjnet.tv. And in a moment, you're going to hear that strange whoosh that I forget to take out of there. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. Folks, we are in the process of taking a trip around the Cross W. We do that every Thursday night here at pjnet.tv. And JD is standing by, and we are going to hear about, well, fence building and things of that sort. And let me bring old JD into the picture here. And JD has got he's ready.
Hey, everyone.
Folks, before I forget it, JD blogs every Wednesday at jdwininger.com. And I hope that if you haven't looked at his blog this week, well, you're going to kind of hear the verbal presentation of it, but it's always good to do your homework before you get here. JD, let me guess, you were out mending or doing fences this week, and let me guess, God talked to you somehow through that.
Yes, sir. It always seems to happen when I get out there in God's great world. If we just learn to be quiet and listen a little bit, he talks quite often. We just have to pay attention and listen for him. But I'm going along. Me and Bubba the dog is riding in the UTV with me, and I've got my pliers in one hand, fence clips in the other, and some baling wire, and we're doing what we need to do to make sure the fences are all squared away and ready for spring. And I got thinking about it, and I remembered that old farmer's advice says, build your fences bull strong and horse high. And so I'm kind of repeating that to myself, and I'm going, now why is that popping into my crazy old mind here? And then I got thinking about it, and I said, well, Lord, what are you trying to teach me today? And it was, you have fences in your spiritual life too, young man. Yeah, he said, some of them keep the temptations of life from getting at you, and other times that fence is a filter and keeps what you're about to say, something stupid or wrong, from coming out, And yes, sir. Fences do both. They both protect and defend, don't they, Lord? So I kind of thought about it a little bit and come in and started putting pen to paper. And well, next thing you know, I've got a blog post out of the whole deal, Coach. But I got thinking about it, and there's a lot of analogies that you can draw, a lot of things you can think about. We talk about it, and I mentioned, in our lives, we put up a lot of different fences, don't we, Coach? Honestly, most of them are privacy fences, and we build walls around certain things, be that our past or whatever. And we do that. We build those solid fences because we want to keep people out of the things that bring us pain or might bring perceived shame upon us. Oh, if somebody, you mentioned it with Miss Amy earlier here, that if they only knew what I did before,
Mm-hmm.
then you lose all credibility, right? But God erases all of that, and that's something we have to remember. But our fences, whether they're physical fences around a pasture or our spiritual ones, they need constant attention, Coach. We need that to maintain their integrity and their effectiveness, right? If we don't keep them maintained, if we don't keep them strong, they're going to fail us when we need them the most. Somebody had mentioned that, well, I don't want to build a fence around my faith because I want to share God with everybody. And I thought, oh, absolutely, that's a wonderful thought. So I said, thinking about that, the best material that we can use to build our faith fence, as I called it, is God's Word. because it's transparent, it's true, and it's also strong. It's the strongest material in the world, Coach. Yeah, so that's the best material to build our spiritual fence, our faith fence with.
Well,
Uh,
there's so
and
many lessons that I got, and it was a little bit after I had read it, as I was kind of reflecting. But you mentioned doors, and I've seen a couple of interesting comments on doors. One of them says the lock on this door is for your protection, not mine.
yes, sir.
But I think the more relevant lesson spiritually is we have to put up boundaries, whether they be doors or fences, however you want to think about them. We have to put up some boundaries, and when you come into the safety of your home, you're not closing that door and locking it because you hate the people out there. It's because you love the people inside.
That's right.
And you said it well. Fences are designed, both to contain but also to protect from the things outside coming in, and as well as contain those things that are in from escaping out. And it's really an act of love, to put up boundaries. And you see that a lot in some of the popular culture today. Put up your boundaries, to people will respect. Well, that's okay, but who defines the boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
What is the moral compass that is being used? And so it's sort of a false narrative of sorts. It sounds good, like so much of the world, but you said it. The boundaries have already been defined.
Yes, sir. Exactly. And another thought, and another commenter shared this thought, was that the post, and what was amazing is the origins of this old saying, bull strong, pig tight, and horse high, where that came from. It was really maintain your fences and keep things, but a poor fence or animals that are loose, and it happens now and again here, but animals that get through the fence or get out of the fence, or fences that are falling down and the wires all hanging loose and gappy, and things, it really does reflect poorly on the farmer or the rancher. Is he not able to care for it? Then that's a prompt that we need to go help that man. Is that he's just too doggone lazy, and he's got more important things to do than keep his animals safe and protected. So, it always reflected badly on you. So how well you maintain your fences. Well, one commenter made the statement, it's kind of like people's lawn. Some folks just have just a meticulous garden, and it's just beautiful with flowers, and it's all well manicured and everything. And I got thinking about that, and I said, you're right. So I replied to her that we tend to care about those things that reflect up on us more than we do other aspects of our life. And I wonder, as I thought about that, I wondered how it translated to our Christian walk. Do we take the time to make sure that our spiritual fruit is always shiny and bright, or and that it's always on display? Does people always see the spiritual fruit that God has blessed us with in our lives? I wonder if it's sometimes my kindness and joy or patience. I wonder if that looks more like a 6-day-old banana, or does it look more like a shiny, red, delicious apple that just come out of the package, right? So how well do we maintain our faith fence, and how well do we maintain the image that we want to present? Do we want Christ to show Christ in our lives all the time, or just on Sunday morning so we look good like the Pharisee on the street corner, right?
Let me give you an example. Tell you a story.
Sure.
You're coaching, and a personal foul is an egregious infraction. Okay, it's unnecessary. It hurts the whole team. But, I watch the reaction of coaches when there's a personal foul. And of course, in the heat of the competition, you don't have a lot of time to contemplate what to say or do. You just do things. But I see coaches getting indignant sometimes, and that causes me to wonder: is your concern for that player? Is your concern for the team, or
Or
is
how
your
it reflects on
concern
you.
that it makes you look bad as a coach? Where's your heart, Coach? My daughter got in some kind of trouble at school. I forget the transgression, but that's exactly what I was faced with. I was indignant because, see, she made me look bad as a father. I wasn't worried about her, JD. I was worried about me.
Oh.
That's not right.
No, sir. That's worldly thinking, not word thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And but I in all the time I have spent growing up around farms and nurseries and country clubs and all that stuff, it never dawned on me until I read your blog. Which side of the post you put that wire on matters.
Okay. Yes, sir.
The laws of
Absolutely
physics
does.
are
Yes.
always in effect. And if you put that wire on the inside of the post facing the pasture you're trying to fence, if you push on it, that wire, that fence, whatever material you're using, is pushed. The entire structure or strength of that fence is pushing against a pole, and I know what it takes to put that pole in the dirt, so it ain't moving.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
But from the other side, if you push the other way, it's just held by a little U-shaped little clip. That thing will pop right
Yes, sir.
out.
Just,
That thing will
just
pop
a little
out.
fence clip. That's all it is. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They pop all the time, Coach. That's what I was doing all weekend. I went through 2 bags of them.
So I guess what you could do is weave that material in and out. Set your fence post up and weave in and out, and you're covered both ways.
Well, I built a lot of the fencing here on Cross W in 2014, Coach, and I actually thought about that. But then again, the laws of physics always apply. And when you got 8 feet between the fence posts, so you have that 8 feet span of wire that is supported by 2 fence posts. But if you alternate the sides of those fence posts, one is
It's 16.
facing inward, one is facing outward, then now all of a sudden I've got to go to 16 feet and I lose the tensile strength. I lose the protective properties of that fence. So, I thought about that and I went, no, wait a minute. When I lose tensile strength like that, it ain't going to work. So I put it all on the inside of the pasture, except for that shared fence that I share with neighbors and things. And here's what I've learned, Coach, or what I've observed in the past 6 years or so of fixing fences. And I do it every year, at least 3 or 4 times a year. I just have to take a day and go fix fence. But what I've learned is always, Coach, the outward facing fence, or the one that the neighbor built first, or that's joins his property and it faces his way to keep his stuff out from my place. However we do that, that outward facing fence where it's connected to the fence is always the one that is in the most need of repair. So I thought about that and I applied that to my spiritual life. Now, my inside fence, where God is busy doing his transformational work in my life, God's got me covered, and his word provides pretty good cover and protection for me. But when my worldly, carnal, human nature takes hold, and a lot of times it'll just take over the brain circuitry, it seems like, and that'll come something that I shouldn't say or shouldn't think or do. And I have more problems with that than I do maintaining my own internal spirituality. I have more trouble displaying it and self-control to maintain it outwardly to others, Coach. And that's an important aspect for me is to realize I'm weaker going out into the world with my faith than I am having the faith inside of me. I hope that makes sense, Coach. And some people may struggle just the opposite direction. So which way is your faith fence facing?
Yeah, you said about 4 times a year you go out mending fences. And
Yes.
mending fences is a phrase used in the vernacular to make repairs to a relationship.
It is. Yes. Yeah. That'll probably do it 6 or 8 times a year, Coach.
That's harder for me.
I think it is for all of us.
Because that involves humility. To say
Yes,
I
sir.
was wrong.
It does, and we let pride get in the way sometimes, don't we, sir?
Don't we? It's that pride can be like a iron peg driven in the frozen tundra. It just doesn't want to move, and when you hit it, it hurts. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. You work all year round. Why is it when it's so bitter cold that everything you do hurts? You work with those pliers and such, and everything it touches you seems to draw blood.
Yes, sir.
It's just that we need to be warm spirited, to be more resilient to the
I like that.
elements out there. Because if it's
Yes,
warm, it's supple, it's soft, and it's pliable. But when you get cold hearted, you get that crusty, and it hurts. And I watch some of these
yes, sir.
football players. When it's cold enough to see your breath, it's cold. You add a little
Yes,
water
sir.
to that to your feet, it gets real bad out there sometimes. But
Oh, yeah. That's when I have to get the big floppy hat out. Yeah.
yeah. Well, the origin. You ever seen those Mariner hats? The kind I'm talking
Yes,
about.
sir.
You, you,
Mm-hmm.
you know you know why they do that. The origin of that is
No, sir.
the
Sorry,
the
no.
periscope. You'd go up. Well, when that periscope come down, there's gonna be a gush of water. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever's manning that periscope, when they fold it up and it comes down, it's gonna be like pouring a bucket of water.
Oh,
So they
okay.
put that in that way it sheds the water.
Okay. I didn't know where that came from.
Well, they look
Interesting.
stupid. They're
Okay.
definitely not a fashion statement. Okay.
Yeah.
You wear a hat out there
What?
when you're out working?
Oh, yes, sir. When it's cold enough to wear my big floppy hat, I don't care how stupid it looks. It keeps my ears and face warm.
How many hats you got?
All ball caps. I probably have 60, 75 baseball caps. And then I've got my old boonie hat from the military that I wear in the summertime. And of course, I got my old, what kind of self-respecting farmer doesn't have a straw hat, Coach?
No.
Yeah. So I've got that, and it's got a few holes in it, and it's kind of ratty, but then so am I. So it works.
Today I noticed a little something different. You normally do a little promo video, but today I see this picture of you in the barn. What's up with that?
Well, sir, I'll be honest. I'm just busy in a one-arm paper hanger today, and had a deadline for a client customer that I'm supporting, and I just simply did not have the time to make a video today, Coach. So I said, let me put that up there on the run. Everybody will know that's around across W. That's what I spend most of my days doing.
That's your hay barn?
That's the hay barn, yes, sir. And actually, that picture was taken this summer after a long day of fencing. That's why the shirt was soaking wet, sir.
Well, I thought you had staged that thing up because the hay was stacked in such a way as to make a natural step.
No, sir, that's just the way an old guy with bad shoulders pulls it down. That's all it was, Coach.
Yeah, I like to grab the ones that are about shoulder high. Or well, it depends on if you're pitching it. It might be good to get them up and let gravity work for you. But I toss around these 33-pound sacks of kitty litter, oil dry, that soaks up
Yes,
gas
sir,
and
oil
oil.
dry.
And if you work smart and get there to the pallet first, you'll get the ones off the top. They're a lot easier.
Oh, yes, sir. Easier on the back, aren't you?
Yeah. So I like to be the
but-
first one there and say I did my 10. Yeah, y'all kids,
Get to rest, yes, sir.
yeah, y'all get them
Now,
ones.
those square bells I had, the small square bells that you saw me setting on, those weigh about 65 pounds each.
Mhm.
But the big round bells that were behind me, those weigh close to 2,000 pounds.
Didn't I see them
you
kind
know.
of colored or painted, or was that natural?
No, sir, that was net wrap. That's just a plastic wrapping that kind of keeps them compressed and keeps them together. And it actually helps shed water because a lot of folks aren't able to put it in a hay barn. and so it'll sit out there, and it actually does help protect them against the moisture in the elements, Coach. So you don't lose as much hay. The rot and decay doesn't go as deep in a round bale of hay if it's net wrapped
Oh, okay.
versus just four strings around it.
Well, and it keeps it tight and compact, and that way you can
Yes.
pack more in, because I would imagine those rolls, big as they get, if they get tilted just a little, once they list about,
Oh,
20 degrees, it's over, isn't it?
oh, I have to tell you what happened to me. It's either yesterday or the day before yesterday, Coach. Last big round bale of hay for the season. Last one out of the barn. It's empty now. And I'm going to put it out for my mama cows. I set it on the pool bank or the bank of the pond where I've set it all winter long, Coach. You set it so that it is parallel to the pond because
Right.
you don't want it to roll into
Roll
the
into the
pond.
pond. That makes sense, yeah.
So I've got it setting up on the pool bank, and I'm a good 10 feet away from the edge of the water and things. So it should be safe. I pull back the tractor off of the bank because I've got it high and dry because we've had so much rain this year. Everything is just still muddy and flooded around here. And I get my tractor off. I put it in neutral so that I can get off and it'll still stay running for me. Just to grab the hay ring, and that weighs about 120 pounds. It's a big metal steel ring that goes around the bale of hay. Cows put their heads through the ring and they eat the hay. Keeps it all in place, keeps them from trampling it all over the place. Except these dum-dums decide they're going to get up there and headbutt, and I'm watching them, and they headbutt, turn it 90 degrees, and then roll it right into the pond. I went, okay, no more hay for you guys this year.
Yeah. Wait out there in
I
the water
love
to
my
get you
cows,
hay.
but some days they're just so stupid, Coach.
Well, they don't understand what we just talked about. The laws of physics are always in
No.
effect. They don't care how you feel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you don't get second chances with those things. If that parachute don't open.
That's fact. Yeah. You get 1,200-pound mama cows pushing and grunting around on that hay, and it's going to go. Yeah. They just tossed around like a rag doll and went right into the lake. I went, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug, Coach.
Yep, that must have been a case. So, well, JD, you got a week at the Cross W Ranch to go find us some more lessons out there, but you never fail us, and it's because God never fails us. But
That's right, Coach.
But keep that radar up because there's people that work the ranch just like you do. I guess God just doesn't talk to them.
Well, I think God talks. They just don't have time to listen.
They ain't listening.
Hopefully we can change that.
There you go.
Listen, I want to thank everybody for joining in this week and visiting us here at PJNet. And I'll just end with the way I tried to end my blog post. And let's make sure that we build our faith fences sin strong and temptation high. So Satan can't get through it and temptation can't get over it, Coach. And let's work to build them higher and stronger with each passing day. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
You heard it right there. J.D. Wininger from Around the Cross W. And he's here every Thursday night. It's always our pleasure. Great guy to have on the team. We're honored. And hey, folks, the team is growing. I want to say a special thank you to all of you in the PJNet.TV chat room. You are a blessing to me, and you are a vital part of this ministry. See, I invite people. Usually I get things ready about 30 minutes before we go on. So I use that 20 minutes or so to kind of see who's on Facebook, and send them a little invitation. And I'm always able to confidently tell them, there's going to be some nice, mature, solid brothers and sisters in Christ that you'll meet there. So I'm always grateful for those of you who hang out with us and provide that foundation of spiritual leadership for the visitors that come in. You're always so welcoming, and we just keep growing. And God keeps blessing us, and He will increase our territory as we are prepared to do so. Folks, it is time to wrap it up. It's been a wonderful evening. And I want to leave you thinking about two questions. The first question is, what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? The second question is, how long ago was that? I challenge myself and I challenge all of you to never be satisfied with either answer.